as you're starting to develop your skills as a lead guitar player, a great way to take your playing to that next level is to learn some licks from your favorite players. Now, this is something I and many other guitar players have done on our own journeys, and this is something that I always recommend newer lead players do themselves. Take some ideas that your favorite players, or even just some classic players out there, use in their own playing. Learn and study what they're doing and how they're approaching playing specific notes or phrasing specific lines, and then take that knowledge and put it into your own playing. In this video, I'm going to show you 5 classic blues licks that I personally love and I play all the time, and hopefully there's some stuff in these licks that you guys can take away and use yourself too. This lesson is brought to you in partnership with the guys at Music Radar, so if you want to check out all the original recordings of these songs and read a little bit more about each of the licks, you can click the link down below in the description and see the article that I wrote to accompany this video. In that article, you'll find all the information about the tracks themselves, a little bit of theory knowledge around these licks too, and just some supplementary stuff that we talk about in this video. So as I said, there's going to be 5 classic blues licks in this video that you guys can learn straight away. We're going to break them down in this lesson, and they're all things that you can take away and use yourself. So I'm going to play them all in the original keys that they were recorded in, with the exception of one, which I will explain when we get to it because it's in a different tuning. But you can basically transpose these to any other key you want. That's the great thing with these licks, is that because they're all based around minor pentatonic scale shapes, you can essentially put these in any key you want and use them in your own playing straight away. Each of the licks come from classic blues songs, so don't feel like you have to play it note for note. You can take the lick and twist it up a little bit and put your own spin on that lick. So gear-wise, what you're hearing in this video is my early 1980s Tokai Strat. This is plugged into the Blackstar Amped 1. The Amped 1 is running on a 6v6 style response, so think of this as like a clean tweed amp sort of sound. Got the Amped 1 running via the 2-notes Torpedo Captor X, and the overdrive that you're hearing in the video is coming from the Chevtone Effects Preacher Drive, which is kind of like a tweed amp kind of drive pedal as well, just pushing the front end of the Amped 1 nicely to get a nice bluesy crunch. All right, so let's get straight into lick number 1. This is the opening lick from the Albert King track, Born Under a Bad Sign, and the lick sounds like this. So this lick is a really fun opening lick. You can see that it sits in that first position minor pentatonic shape. So the track that we're looking at here is in the key of C sharp minor, or you could perceive this as being E major. We're playing that very common first position pentatonic shape rooted from the 9th fret of the low E. So this lick starts on the and of 1, so it's on the offbeat. We're starting with a full step bend on the 12th fret of the B. Then we're running down the pentatonic scale, 9 on the E, 12 and 9 on the B, and then we're doing a bend and release on the 11 of the G. Once we've done that bend and release, we're then playing the 11 and 9 on the G, and then landing on the 11 of the D. The next part of the lick is a very typical Albert King thing. We're playing a quarter tone bend here on the 9 of the G, and then we're rolling down the 11 on the D and A. Then we're ending by coming up to the second shape, and we're playing the 12 and 14 on the B, the 12 on the E, and the 14 on the B. This is played with a slightly rushed feel. You'll hear that a lot in players like Eric Clapton and Stevie Ray Vaughan. Both those guys were very influenced by Albert King's playing style. So here's that lick once more slowly. Once more at full speed. The second lick I'm going to show you is the opening lick for the B.B. King track, The Thrill Is Gone. Now, no classic blues lick lesson would be complete without something from B.B. He is the undisputed king of blues phrasing. If you're a blues player and you're getting into really digging into your phrasing, absolutely check out and learn as much B.B. King as you can, because his playing style really shows you what you can do with very few notes. And this is a great example of that. This is going to be in the key of B minor, just like the original track. But again, you can transpose this if you want. This is going to be using the first and second shapes of the minor pentatonic scale. The lick goes like this. So this lick is quite slow. It's quite easy to get started with. Once again, it's all about the phrasing when it comes to B.B. King. You'll notice as I was playing that lick, I was adding a couple of string rakes and just not playing it very, very tight. And that is an intentional thing. With the B.B. King style, you want it to be very fluid and very, very vocal. So the lick is starting on the 12th fret of the B string, which is in the second shape of the B minor pentatonic. We're playing 2 sustained notes here, one on the first beat, one on the fourth. So make sure you get that singing vibrato there on those notes as well. BB's vibrato style was very fast but shallow. Then we're coming down the first position from the 10th fret of the E to the 10th fret of the B. So we're playing 10 and 7 on the E, 10 on the B. Then we're skipping to the 9 on the G with a full step bend. Twice on the 7 of the G. Then we're rolling the 9 on the G to the 9 on the D. Then the 7 on the G once more, and 3 more 9th frets on the D. Then we're playing the 7 on the G and the 9 followed by a full step bend. Then we're rolling the 7 on the B and the E to finish. So here's that lick played slowly. And then once more at full speed. When you're playing anything in the style of B.B. King, you do have to exercise a lot of restraint. It's very easy as a lead guitar player to want to overplay. When you're playing the B.B. King thing, you really have to rein it in and focus on just the notes that you need to play. The third lick we're going to talk about now is from the third member of the Three Kings. So we've had Albert King, we've had B.B. King. Now we're going to talk about Freddie King. This is the opening lick from the guitar solo from the track Going Down, and it goes like this. So this lick sits in the second position of the D minor pentatonic scale. This is quite a simple lick, but again, like the Albert King lick, you can learn a lot about phrasing from this. You'll hear these kind of licks all over Eric Clapton's guitar playing as well, as he was a big fan of Freddie King. So what we're doing here is we're sliding up to the 15th fret on the B string. Then we're playing the 13 and 15 on the E. Bending that 15 up a full step. And then we're landing back on the 13 of the E. This is a very typical Freddie King style box pattern. And then for the second half of the lick, we're playing the 15 on the B once more, then bending up the 15 on the E a full step, playing the 15 on its own then without a bend, the 13 on the E with a little quarter tone bend, then we're landing back on that 15 of the B twice. Now with the Freddie King style stuff, you'll notice it's a little bit more choppy and staccato sounding. So when you're playing these licks, make sure you dig in a bit more on the Freddie King stuff. Don't let the notes ring unless you're sustaining them with some vibrato. So here's that lick played slowly. And once more at full speed. The fourth lick actually comes from a player that's borrowed a lot off the three guys I've already talked about, and that is Stevie Ray Vaughan. So we're actually going to ramp up the difficulty a little bit here. This is one of the first licks you're going to hear in the track Texas Flood. Now this lick I'm actually playing in a different key to the original version. So I'm going to be playing this in the key of G minor, using notes from the G minor pentatonic first position and the natural minor scale, as well as the flat 5 blues note. So there's a couple of additional things in this, but they're not too difficult to get to grips with. But the original version, Stevie did play this in what looks like G, but he was actually tuned down a semitone. I'm playing this in standard tuning. The lick sounds like this. So as you can see, this lick is a little faster and a little more technically demanding than the previous 3 that we've looked at. So this one, we're actually starting this in a little bit more of a conventional way. We're doing a half tone bend here on the 5th fret of the G, and we're playing the 3rd on the B and E. Now the bending in this doesn't have to be exact because it's quite a quick lick. Stevie tends to just fling through the bends in this one, so having that loose, slinky feel does help. You can do them as very accurate bends if you want, but because of the speed of this, you don't need to focus too much on the accuracy, as long as they sound in tune as you fling through them. You don't have to get them exactly perfect because of the nature of this lick. So we're actually starting with this bend here, a half step, and rolling up through those 3rd frets there on the B and E. Then we're doing another half tone bend here on the 6th fret of the B, and then playing the 3rd on the B. So you can see that's quite slinky feeling as opposed to doing full step bends. We do it with half step bends. It's got a little bit more of a loose kind of slinky feel. So once we've done that, we're playing the 5th on the high E. This isn't in the G minor pentatonic. This is a note from the G natural minor scale. Then we're playing the 3rd fret on the high E and doing a hammer and pull off on the 4th. Now again, this isn't in the minor pentatonic or even the natural minor scale. You could consider this note as being from the Phrygian mode in G. You don't have to worry too much about that, but this is just what Stevie does. So we're going. See that little flick there? You're not really hearing this 4th fret for too long. You're just kind of flicking through it. Then we're playing the 6 on the B, the 3rd on the E, and a full step, then a half step bend on the 6 of the E. Then we're rolling down, 3, 3 on the E and B, down to the 5 on the G where we're doing another quarter step bend. So let's just go through that first bit once more. So there's a lot of bending there. You want this to be very slinky sounding. We're then playing the 3rd on the G and we're doing a full step bend. Because we've already done a bend on the 5th, we're actually landing on this note with our index finger. So the best thing to do here is to pull this down. So if you bend that up with one finger, you're going to need a lot more strength. So pull that one down. And then hit the 5th on the D string twice. Now we're playing the 3rd once more on the G, with this time with another half step bend, and then the 5th on the D once more. Put the emphasis on the release of that index finger bend too. And then the final part of the lick is a little chromatic walk from the 3rd fret here on the A through the 4th fret, which is the flat 5, up to the 5th. And then we're hitting this dyad chord here on the 4th of the D and the 5th of the G. That rounds off the lick. So this one, like I said, has a lot more notes in there. It's a little bit more demanding. So here's that one played slowly. And once more at full speed. The 5th and final classic blues lick in this lesson is the final lick you hear in the intro solo for the Cream track Crossroads. This is played by Eric Clapton. Now, Clapton is not normally known as a fast player, but this lick is some of his fastest recorded playing. It's a really cool A minor pentatonic lick with a couple of major notes thrown in for good measure. Here's the lick in full. So this lick, in typical Eric Clapton fashion, has a little bit of slurring going on. So again, the notes do not have to be super precise. That's the great thing with playing blues, is it doesn't have to be very precise. You can be loose because it's all about the feel and the phrasing and what you put into the notes. So this lick is predominantly based in that first position A minor pentatonic shape. We are adding a major note here, which is the 6th fret of the G. We're routinely going from this 5th fret here to the 6th, which is the minor third to the major third. That is a very big component of Clapton's playing style, where he will take major elements and put them into minor pentatonic blues. So the lick starts with a slide up to the 7th fret of the A. Then we're running up the pentatonic scale on the 5th, the 7th of the D. That's picked quite quick. Then we're doing a quarter tone bend here on the 5th of the G before going back to that 7 on the D. Notice that little flurry there. Then we're doing a pull off from the 7 to the 5 of the G, back to the 7 of the D. Then that 5th fret on the G again with 2 little quarter tone bends, back to the 7 of the D. The Clapton style is very loose, so again, don't worry if some of those notes kind of blend into each other. That's part of the sound. Then we're actually going to use that major note we talked about. So we're going to hammer on from the 5th to the 6th of the G, and then play the 5th on the B and E. You can kind of do that in a rolling motion. 8 to 5 pull off on the B, 7 on the G, 5 on the B. Then we're doing that major minor crossover once more. And the final little phrase starts on the 7 of the D, the 5 to the 6 on the G, the 5 on the B, and ends on the 7 of the A. So again, there's all these little flurries throughout this one. Wherever we're playing, we're always kind of pushing through notes. It always feels like you're kind of pushing and pulling against the beat when you do this Clapton style thing. So here's that lick played slowly. And then that lick once more at full speed. So there you go, there are 5 classic blues licks you guys can learn right now and take away for your own playing. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you've taken some of these licks and put them to good use. If you'd like to find out a little bit more about each of these licks and learn some of the theory behind them and hear the original versions, down below in the description you'll find a link to the Music Radar website that will take you straight through to an article that I wrote that accompanies this video lesson, so please go check that out as well. While you're down there doing that, let me know in the comments if there are any classic blues licks you think I've missed off this list, or any classic blues licks you would like to suggest for anyone watching this video to check out as well. Put those down below in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button as well, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Like I said, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought down below, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Thanks so much for watching.